What's up, my dudes? My name is Sister Turley, and in this video I'm just going to be talking about dirt bike crashes. So I've definitely had some pretty horrific, pretty gnarly, pretty gruesome crashes in my lifetime, and I think it's definitely a pretty cool topic to talk about, and I think a lot of you motocrossers out there will definitely be able to relate to me because it's the craziest thing, man. And I think I'm going to go into more detail with the actual, blacking out and getting knocked out, those kind of motocross crashes, just because they're very, very bizarre in the way that it happens, man. It's just so crazy. So I'm not necessarily talking, mostly about just breaking bones and stuff like that. I'm really going into more detail of the actual, concussion and blacking out and that kind of thing. I mean, I'll talk a little bit about the broken bones and stuff, but for the most part, I mean, what fascinates me the most about it is the actual blacking out part of it, just because it's so crazy how it happens, because you can't even, it's almost like you crash, but it was totally out of your control because you can't even remember that it happened. It's so crazy. So okay, so I've probably had about 4 or 5 crashes that, I mean, I've had probably 2, what you could consider concussions, but I mean, I've definitely blacked out on a dirt bike. I mean, upwards of probably 6-7 times. I mean, fully blacked out, where, I mean, you wake up about 3 or 4 minutes later and it's like, whoa, okay. But it's so tricky because, especially if you're riding by yourself and no one else is on the track, it's that's one of those things you don't really know if you blacked out or not, because it's so tricky. And it's, if you've never blacked out on a dirt bike before, it's very hard to understand even what I'm saying. It's hard to really get a picture of what I'm saying, just because it's so bizarre. And that's why I had to talk about it, because the blacking out side of things is, it's so crazy how it affects your brain, because it's almost like, let me just kind of put it to you this way. If you've never blacked out on a dirt bike, let me just kind of try to explain it to you, okay? It's kind of like you're just all of a sudden riding, and everything's great, and you're just riding along, and whether you're going fast or slow or whatever, and it's a good day of riding, and you're having fun, and you're just riding around the track, and then in a split second, it's kind of similar to waking up, like going to sleep and waking up, you know what I mean? And obviously it's similar to that, because that's pretty much what it is. But you know how when you go to sleep, you just instantly wake up, and it's not really like you felt, it's not really like you slept through it. You really just went to sleep and you woke up all kind of in a quick instant, like a snap of the finger. And that's kind of how blacking out is. It's more like you're just riding along and everything's great, and then bam, all of a sudden you're on the ground. Your dirt is all you can see, man. I mean, I've had that happen multiple times, and it's the craziest feeling, because it's like the crash was completely out of your control. I mean, you were in control at that time, but you can't even remember it. So it's just so crazy, man. It's hard for me to even explain it, but some of you guys that have blacked out on a dirt bike before, you'll know, I hope you know anyways, exactly what I'm talking about, because it's the most bizarre thing, because it's like, what the heck just happened? I wasn't even in control, that's what it feels like, because it's like, you just, all of a sudden, you're riding and having fun, and then just in a blink of an eye, you're on the ground and going, what the heck just happened? And then people are telling you, dude, you were out for 5 minutes or something, and you just rolling like a rag doll. I mean, people say all this stuff, and you think, what in the heck? It's just so confusing to the brain, because it just doesn't make any sense how people would think that you actually experienced the crash, and it feels like, oh, okay, well that's what happened, and I crashed and I blacked out, and that's what happened. But it doesn't feel like that. It feels like you're just riding like normal, and then all of a sudden you just, boom, you wake up and you're on the ground, just like that. So it's the craziest thing, and I have so much respect for those people that have had crashes and stuff like that, just since I've kind of went through them and stuff, just because it's just the craziest thing, man. And it's just, I don't know, it's kind of, it's just crazy. I mean, I can't even explain it. It's so bizarre, because it's literally like you had a crash, okay? you had a gnarly crash and you got knocked out and everything, but to you it simply felt like you were just riding on the track, and then it's kind of like you just went to sleep, and you woke up and you're on the ground and you have absolutely no idea what happened. You think, what the heck? Put yourself in those shoes. If you've never had that happen before, just think about that for a second. You're just riding along, having fun, having a good day of riding, and then literally you just wake up on the ground. Just like that, just picture yourself just waking up on the ground. And it's the craziest feeling, man. I don't know. It's just wild. But I mean, I've had definitely plenty of crashes where I've just laid it over or whatever, stuff like that. But it seems like every time I have a pretty gnarly, pretty gruesome kind of crash, I usually knock myself out in some sort of manner. I've definitely had some worse kind of concussions, but any sort of thing where you hit your head at all, you're going to be a little knocked cuckoo. It may not be a full concussion, but if you're just knocked a little bit cuckoo, it's a confusing world. I mean, it's, when you're seeing stars, that's, oh my gosh, did I just say that right now? If you're seeing stars and look at the track we're on, oh my God, that's crazy. Life is crazy sometimes. I can't believe I just said that, but that just happened right now. So I don't know. That is crazy, man. But okay, so it's just wild because if you've never experienced the getting knocked out and the seeing stars, it's like no other feeling. You know what I'm saying? It's just, there's no other way to explain it, but it's bizarre, man. I mean, I just 2 or 3 days ago, I had what felt like to me the throttle completely stick on a dirt bike, and just completely went flying off the berm, full blast speed, and I got launched off the bike like I think I actually launched like 60 feet away from the bike, completely flying in the air without the bike, because the berm was pretty much straight up and down. It was kind of one of those weird berms that wasn't really a berm kind of thing. It's just, I don't know. I don't really know how to explain it, but like you're not even really meant to hit that corner all the way to the edge of the berm. It's kind of one of those like built up kind of grass growing on top of it kind of berms. So it's pretty much just like I just went wide open into a just straight up and down dirt berm, and it just completely launched me off the bike, and that was a crazy one, man, and landed kind of on my back, and it slung my head back. But I mean, I kind of was seeing stars there. May have been knocked out. I don't really know if I was or not. Nobody else was there, so it's a very weird feeling, especially when no one's there to tell you what happened, because I know multiple times when I've gotten knocked out before, people would tell me certain things happened, and I would think, what the heck are you talking about? I didn't do that. What do you mean? I didn't, I've seen videos of me like getting back up from the crash and then falling back down, walking around like an idiot, and all I remember is crashing and waking up on the ground. I don't remember getting back up and walking around and doing all that. It just doesn't even exist in my brain. You see what I'm saying? So and also, I mean, my parents have told me that on the way to the hospital before, I've been sitting there just repeating myself over and over, like, what race did I crash in, Mom? What happened in that crash? And then, she would tell me what happened, and then 5 seconds later, I would say the same thing. What crash what happened in the first race? Was it the second race? What happened, Mom? And then I would repeat it again. She would tell me exactly what happened, and then I would repeat it to her again. I would say, did I crash in the first race or what? And then to me, I didn't even remember the whole trip to the hospital. You know what I mean? I didn't even remember. Well, I remembered like pieces of it, but like I had to remember like my sister's name and my dog's name, and it gets gnarly, man. I mean, when you have bad motocross crashes, it gives you a lot of respect for like the sport in general and those top guys and stuff, because they've had to go through some gnarly ones, man, and it's not easy. That's the thing about motocross, is like most people, they can't ever make it to the top simply because they've crashed themselves to the point where they just can't make it anymore. They can't go any further in their career because they've had too many bad crashes. That happens to probably like 9 out of 10 people that try to make it in motocross. They have too many bad crashes that they literally can't physically do it. And that's the thing. The more you knock yourself out and the more you break a certain area and stuff like that, the easier it is. the more, like, just like Travis Pastrana, he's knocked himself out so many times, but so now he can't even really land on a foam pit or something without just, you know, knocking himself a little cuckoo, just because he's done it so many times. So it's a dangerous world out there, man. And motocross, it's, you know, it gives you a lot of respect for people like Dungey, that they tone their level down a little bit just to make it to where they don't have another gnarly crash or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, they tone their level down some, and it's like, man, you know, that's cool what he's doing. I mean, Villopoto's was gnarly to the bone, because he could ride that motorcycle to its absolute limit, but tone it down when he needed to, and that was crazy. But you got to give people like Dungey respect, because he's not out there breaking a bone every weekend, so he's making himself last. You know, he's making it to where he can actually race and show up on race day. I mean, that's the truth, man. Most people, they can't even hardly show up on race day or make it through a full season, just because the sport itself is so gnarly and so dangerous that one little mistake and that's it, man. I mean, it's crazy, because that's the thing about it. Like, most of the time you would think, oh, well, that's what happened in this crash, and that's how it happened, and yeah, well, that was my mistake. But when you get knocked out, you can't even remember what happened. So it's kind of like you just crashed, or you just got that concussion for no reason, and it's like, why did I even crash? And that's so crazy. And it's the weirdest feeling, the time lapse between just riding and having fun, and then all of a sudden waking up on the ground. That's the weirdest thing, man, when you get knocked out. But I've definitely I've probably fractured a wrist and sprained, you know, multiple things, but I mean, I've hit my head probably more than anything, but and I'm pretty sure I broke my tailbone before on a 125 popping wheelies in my backyard, but that was pretty gnarly. But that wasn't even on a motocross track, but that was pretty crazy. And then my dad, he broke his collarbone on my 125, like the first day I got it. He was popping wheelies on it, and they're gnarly, man. But once you get to that crazy level, the danger goes up and up and up. And I've been fortunate enough to not really break a leg or an arm or anything big like that. I've just been fortunate, and but like I say, I've definitely had some concussions, and it makes things very weird, because now it just, like I'm saying, the more you get concussions and stuff like that, the easier it is for it to happen. So it's one of those things. It seems like now every time I have a gnarly crash, it seems like I somewhat get knocked cuckoo if I hit my head at all, you know. So it's kind of crazy like that. But there's a difference, man. I mean, when you throw your leg over that dirt bike, you're pretty much signing a waiver saying, I accept that this could be gnarly and gruesome and horrific, because that's what it could be. You know what I'm saying? That's what motocross can be. I mean, just picture yourself just holding the gas wide open, flying right off the berm into whatever's off the track, whether it be a dozer or a tree or whatever. I mean, just picture yourself doing that, because that could happen very well. And I mean, even more things gnarlier than that. I mean, tearing your thumb off, crazy stuff like that. I mean, anything can happen when you're going those kind of speeds and stuff. And it's just a gnarly sport, and I have so much respect for it. And it's definitely not for the weak of heart, man. I mean, when you throw your leg over that motorcycle and you plan on riding that bike as hard as you can, you're signing that waiver over that, I mean, I accept that this could go really bad, and it definitely can, trust me. So it's not if you'll have a crash, it's when you'll have a crash. And I know everybody says that, but it's true, man. I mean, it's like I'm saying, you can be as safe as you want to on the bike, but you can hit the ground and hit your head and you don't even remember that you crashed, and then it's crazy like that. So anyways, definitely let me know about some of your crash stories in the comments. I definitely want to hear about it, and try to stay safe out there, guys. I know everybody tries to get faster and faster, but the more you just got to stay away from those injuries, man, because that'll take you out quicker than you can say Bob's your uncle. And I feel like the wrist injuries and the shoulder injuries have taken more people out than polio. So it's pretty bad, man. You got to be careful. So anyways, I appreciate all you watching these videos, and I'll keep on making them.